Good morning, everybody. I'm waiting for my video to catch up. Good morning, everybody. It is Monday morning and we are live. It is 11:06. A few minutes late today because I have been dealing with my cat peeing on my bed. So I'm not even sure what it was I was going to talk to you guys about today because I'm so irritated and frustrated at my cat that I did just a second ago lose my mind and scream at her. I know that's not helpful. I know that's not right. I know that's not a great spiritual practice. I know all these things, blah, blah, blah. And this would be the fourth time in a week that she peed on my bed. And I'm done. I'm done. So I'm not sure what I was going to talk to you about today, but what I'm actually going to talk to you about is showing you in real time what I do when I'm this upset. And I am furious. I am like beyond mad. In fact, I did just threaten to kick her out in the rain and the snow. I know it's not right. I know it's not spiritual, whatever. And I don't fucking care. That's how upset I am. And so, okay, I'm going to show you in real time what my process is because sometimes no matter how right you are and how hard you fight, the dragon will still win. That's what the human condition is about. This is what we do. This is why we do the work so that in it's easy to be peace and love and light when things are, sort of not going easy, but like smooth, right? But when we get into these situations where life happens and life throws us lemons, how are you going to make lemonade with it? So the first thing is, I mean, I got it was rage. It was rage at, right? It was rage out, which always tells me that there's some kind of something underneath it. So the first thing I'm doing is feeling all of my feelings. So I'm feeling it and I'm bringing it into my heart and I'm so angry. I'm angry. So so feeling that anger and then okay, immediately right underneath it is the violation of boundaries. It's the violation of boundaries. That's where the rage is. That's why I'm so angry, is because my boundaries have been violated. Yes, by a cat who may or may not know better. I actually read an article recently that cats actually do know what naughty is, they know what crime is, they know what stealing is, and they do it anyway. So I actually believe that she does know what she's doing. I worked with an animal communicator over the weekend who's actually brilliant and amazing. And she connected with Freda and she talked to her and we had this whole like heart to heart connection about what she needs and how she's such a powerful old soul and all these things. Um, and I believed that. And I worked all weekend long to connect with her and be open with her and share. And so the fact that she did it today anyway was not only a violation of my boundaries, it was disrespectful. And right underneath that hurts my feelings because I tried really hard. So great, awesome. So that's the process. So I felt it, right? I could continue to feel this rage or I could see what's underneath it. If I were to take it one more step further, I'd be like, okay, well, when's the first time I felt this? And that's literally all my life, right? When I there was I don't know if there was one pinpointed time that I could say was the one time that my boundaries were crossed and I felt got my feelings hurt and felt violated. That's been true for most of my life, right? Great. So, yep, I can feel it. I can feel it right here in my stomach. I can feel that knot. I can feel it. It's like completely full of angst. So I'm gonna send it some love. I'm gonna really try very hard to really get in touch with the feeling of being in love with whoever feels this kind of anxiety and this kind of pain and hurt. So I'm just going to breathe into this space and send her some love and just be like, it's okay, I got you. And I'll do that for a couple of breaths. Okay. And I can feel it start to just like um, drain away a little bit. It's like the pressure drained out of the system. Okay. Whew. Okay. Good. I can take a breath now. I'm not so up. So I'm just going to keep breathing into that space, keep breathing into that, like into my inner child, just kind of giving her like soothing comfort, letting her know she's okay and she's safe, sending her love. I understand and I know that everything happens as it should because it's like divine. There's a divine, everything is just some divine thing, right? Even the fact that my cat keeps peeing on my bed is something for me to learn. There's a lesson here. Great. So I'm just going to embrace the fact that it's all, everything is a divine energy. Everything is God. Everything in the universe vibrates at that frequency. And so, okay. And just like that, I can breathe again. I took the air out of the system and now I can come back and actually have a conversation with my cat, have a conversation with myself, function in the world. And yes, I was explaining it, but that took what, 5 minutes? That took about 5 minutes for me to get to. If I had not done this, then that kind of rage, that kind of anger and fear and sadness would have run my day. It would have run my day all day long. And so I've worked so hard to get to this place of peace that when something takes me out of that place, I have a deep sense of urgency almost to feel it and clear it because it's up, because it's ready to be healed. So what I'm going to do when I get off of this call is I'm going to actually sit and do the whole, I do what's called the method. I learned it from my teacher. His name is Bob Lancer, and he is a super powerful teacher and healer. And he's so, I mentioned him before, he's like a guru that like he's so, he practices detachment so much that sometimes it's frustrating and other times it's inspiring. But he taught us a thing called the method, which I use all the time. I also use a Ho'oponopono practice. So what I'll do is I'll do a combination of these two things so that I can get myself back into stasis again. Um, Anger itself isn't the problem. The anger is always an indication that there's something has your boundaries have been violated or something is not right. Anger is often the passion that we need for change, right? When it becomes rage at is when anger gets to be a problem, or when it goes inward and becomes depression. Either way, those aren't helpful, right? So our job is to feel it. I had to bring that in, right, and feel it, and really, bring in the anger, and right behind it, the fear and hurt and boundaries. You know, at RTI, when we teach in the school, after we finish the one weekend, we go right into the next weekend. And so our we're in third chakra, and third chakra historically is boundaries, is that sense of self and will and self-esteem, and his and that has always been a challenge for me. So it makes perfect sense that as soon as I get back from the weekend and get back from second chakra into third chakra, my boundaries are being tested by a being who lives in my house. That's a lifelong struggle for me, and it's altogether fitting. So I know it's perfect. I know it's here to teach me the lesson. So I'm going to do the Ho'oponopono prayer to clear out whatever is in me that is inviting her to keep violating my boundaries. And chances are good I'm not going to throw her out in the snow, but maybe check in on us later on and just see how we are. Anyway, that's how I this is how I do the work. This is what I do. This is also what I teach people to do. This is how I work in groups. This is how I work in one-on-ones. This is how I do my work. We access whatever it is you're feeling, and we look at what's here and what's underneath it and why you feel that way, and then I teach you to fall in love with yourself. I teach you to be listening to and guided by and transformed in your emotions. That's the work. I have a workshop on Sunday, The Science of Happiness, which I invite you all to join. And for you guys, I mean, the workshop is $149, but for this group, for you guys specifically, it's only 99. And I do that because I want you guys to be there. I want you guys to do this work, and you guys are my people. So please come on Sunday. On February 6th. On February 6th, I'm going to do an archetype class. So we'll look at archetypes are global energy patterns. They're these like global, universal energy patterns. Like I could say things like hero or mother or teacher, and we all have an image of what those words mean. I could say things like geek as well, and that brings up a certain image, a certain stereotype, a certain energy. Every single person has 12 archetypes, these primary universal, like sort of um impersonal energies. That's how it's why we do what we do and how we do what we do and sort of how we make the decisions that we make, and they are all it's always the archetypes. When you understand your archetypes, it's a roadmap home. It is the legend. It's the key for you to be able to navigate your way back to yourself. So we're gonna spend it's a 4 hour masterclass. I'm gonna actually only have 8 people in this class. So it's a very small class. I am just about finished with an archetype consultant certification through Carolyn Mace, who's sort of like the definitive archetype person. She's been doing archetype work for decades, right? So I'm just about finished with this certification. I'm so excited to share it with you guys. So February 6th, I'm doing an archetype masterclass, and we will actually uncover your 12. We'll actually look at who you have always been and what energies you hold in the world and how that can serve you, right? When I finally understood one of my primary archetypes is eternal child. I say that and you can see that. You just know me. Look at me. I'm always going to be this eternal. I'm going, right? But when I finally when I understood that, it was the first time in my whole life that I had permission to be me. And it was this beautiful experience because I was like, there's actually nothing wrong with me. And no matter how many times I tried to adult, I was never going to do it because that's not who I am. And when I gave myself permission to finally be that, it was like this, like, the skies opened up, and it was like this, like, oh, and I felt like I just did just now. I felt like I could breathe again. And that was the first time I had ever allowed that. And that was I was in my 40s when I finally got there, right? So imagine if you could give yourself permission to be who you are, because this is who you are. So archetype class on February 6th, and it's really going to be awesome. And then later in March, the beginning of March, I'm going to do a 2 hour class on Ho'oponopono and the practice of forgiveness and surrender and taking responsibility. So I've got tons of stuff coming out. I'm going to put all these events up. I'm going to create all this stuff. So pay attention and watch the space. If nothing else, take the Science of Happiness class on Sunday, because we'll do exactly what I just did in that class. I will show you how that works. I will give you the tools so that when life happens, when you get overwhelmed, when you get flooded with emotion like I just did, you have a way out. You can navigate it. So please come on the 23rd. It's going to be amazing. And the February 6th for the archetype class, that's a super small class. Like I said, I can only manage 8 people because we're really going to dive into your archetypes. So get on that as soon as possible. And then March 2nd for Ho'oponopono. It's going to be a really good class on a Wednesday. So that's all. That's really all I got. Thank you for listening. Thank you for letting me talk through my process. Thank you for letting me share how I work and what I do. And thank you for showing up. And if you tuned in, say hi. Let me know. If you're watching a replay, let me know that too. And, stay warm, stay dry, stay healthy. Do what you can to raise your vibes. And I'll talk to you next week.